In the midst of a new episode of Golden Sun and RPG Let's Play commencing, or about to be presented to you, there has been a new official trailer, or an announcement trailer, for the next entry of Capcom's survival horror series, which is Resident Evil 6. Yep, and I'm excited to talk about it today. So, hey everybody, it's RPG here, and welcome back to another episode of RPG Let's Play with Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance. In today's episode, we are going to go back to Vault to pick up that Venus Genie that we left out on the first time when we came to that town. And we are going to pick it up for good, to have it with us for good, as I do say so myself. And we are going to make our way back over to Calais, so that way we can visit with the tourists. And then before we leave town, they will track us to our next destination as to where we are supposed to go. Alright gamers, let's go ahead and get on with this episode that's already in progress, shall we? And as you can tell, I made a wrong turn somewhere, so we're going to have to backtrack a little bit, and we will take the official path that we need to pursue in order to get back over to Vault. So, how's everybody doing today on this lovely Friday? Hope you all are having a really good day and are ready for the weekend. And I gotta tell you that yesterday, I think, pretty much came at an unexpected, yesterday's surprise was totally unexpected. Even though it is speculated that a new entry was going to be made in the series, whatever. But yes, an announcement trailer, or the first debut trailer of Resident Evil 6, has surfaced on the internet to the general public. And boy, oh boy, am I excited. And yeah, I would say that, I have no faith in Capcom whatsoever, but, I still don't, because of the bad moves that they're pulling on so many of their other franchises. But, take a look at the trailer for Resident Evil 6. It's really kind of got me intrigued. Well, it's actually got me very intrigued, because I do feel that this entry is actually going to redeem itself from the travesty that was Resident Evil 5. But I'm not going to make my full judgment as of yet until I get my hands on Resident Evil Revelations. Which I also need to check out the demo too, because it's now available on the Nintendo's 3DS eShop. So that way you can download it and play it a little bit. And that should be quite an experience for me to have for this weekend. And of course, a couple more episodes of Kirby's Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland will air both on Saturday and Sunday, and that will complete that retro Let's Play of the game. And as promised, well, I probably wouldn't say promised, but as I stated before, whether or not if I'm going to get on with Yoshi's Island at some point, that might as well be my next retro Let's Play for the weekends. So they'd be 2 episodes every week, basically covering one world, which means that out of each episode is 4 levels, since, each world is consisted of 8 levels, and there's 6 in total, so that'd be a game that I could be doing for the next month and a half, which should be, which should keep everyone's interest until I decide what to do for my next retro Let's Play. And rightfully so. Okay, let's go ahead and use reveal right here. But yes, getting back to Resident Evil 6, like I said, I will not make my final judgment and whether or not if I will have hope or whatever for Resident Evil 6 until I have gotten my hands on Resident Evil Revelations, because of the poor performance that Resident Evil 5 delivered. I mean, I'll go as much as say that Resident Evil 5 is a good game. It's possibly a decent entry, but it totally doesn't, totally doesn't grasp me into liking it a whole lot. Because, I feel there are lots of things that totally made the game truly unnecessary, specifically the story. And I just hope that Resident Evil 6's plot really makes me grasp my interest once more. Because Resident Evil 5, I was totally disappointed with. I mean, it was nice to see Chris and Jill and Wesker in the game, but, with most of the other characters in there, it just makes you wonder, why should I even care about those people? And even the same can be said about, some of these spin-offs or whatever. It's like, why do I care about those people when they're well established in the franchise and they have really big importance within every entry? But, it kind of makes me feel like whether or not Resident Evil 5 had importance for Chris, Jill, and Wesker. Well, even though it was the game to officially kill off Wesker, which I somehow think there's probably going to be some type of unexpected twist happening, because, you know, to be honest, even though the storyline shows in Resident Evil 5, even though the end of the storyline shows off with Chris and Sheva killing off Wesker, would he honestly die from all that all of a sudden? I really think that there is some type of plot twist coming up in Capcom's sleeve, but I will hold judgment until we see more information about this game, and probably we're going to see a lot more of it until E3 2012. But from what I've seen of the trailer, it definitely does grasp me a little bit. I really do think that it's finally going back to the roots of, you know, survival horror, even though it still maintains that action element and that gameplay perspective that we've seen in both Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5. But it seems like Capcom is living up to their promise to, you know, give fans what they want with the next entry. You know, making sure that it's really dark, and there's zombies in it. That's a good thing. There are actual zombies in the game, and, you know, there are many different types of BOWs, it looks like, and, you know, hopefully we get to see hunters, hopefully we get to see probably lickers, and hopefully we get to see, you know, the zombie dogs and some of those others, and hopefully we get to see Nemesis or the Tyrant making a comeback, but it's hard to tell since Umbrella has disintegrated. But, you know, it's really great to see, you know, from initial impressions, it's good to see that the game, you know, looks really, really compelling and very dark from what was shown. So, anyway, the game, it's going to star both Leon S. Kennedy and Chris Redfield as the main protagonists in the story, but they will be two different plot lines. So I'm guessing that this is going back to the scenario system that Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 offered, with the different perspectives of either the two characters you play as, or it could be going in the route of what Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep has done. You know, where you play the game from either the perspective of Terra, Ven, or Aqua, where they go through the many different worlds, and they have different scenarios that happens around them. That may be the case, well, specifically since the settings to where Leon and Chris are, they're going to be completely different from each other, because it looks like Leon is still in the United States, while Chris Redfield is over in, is over in China, because there is a bioterrorist threat that has taken place. But yeah, it should be very interesting, although I was kind of meh about hoping that Claire Redfield would actually take the main protagonist role, you know, for female protagonist, because we already seen Chris Redfield have his share with Resident Evil, Resident Evil 5 as a main male protagonist. I mean, I would like to see the other Redfield, you know, be in the spotlight for a main protagonist role. But the one thing that I hope for is the partners. You know, since Resident Evil 5 had partners with you to help fight alongside against the enemies, I just hope that they kind of lessen that for Resident Evil 6, because I felt that was one of the things that really killed Resident Evil 5, was having that element to where, you know, you had a partner with you. When most Resident Evil games, you're mostly by yourself, and it really creates that horrifying and scary experience for the player, because, you know, it's like you're playing in the first-person perspective most of the time. When you take control of either of the characters, it's like you're being immersed into the world of survival horror. So I really hope they lessen that. But, I mean, it's okay to have that, but make sure it's become lessened, like Resident Evil 4, when you had the President's daughter, Ashley Graham, who was also revealed in the trailer, by the way. You know, just in hope that she doesn't stick by you the whole time. It's like she was stuck with you, like, for about maybe 25 or 30% of the game, you know, in the various instances where, you know, everything was split up, where you had her or not. So yeah, I hope that really I hope that happens for Resident Evil 6. And from what we know, Ada is also going to be in the game, but I'm not sure whether or not she's going to play the main antagonist or not, because there's actually a hint where Chris Redfield actually mentions somebody, but it's in the recognition of a female, and it's saying something like, "I'm really had it with this woman, causing trouble for everybody, out of all she's doing." So he could be referring to Ada, even though they really haven't met each other before. But Jill Valentine was also present in the trailer, and she was actually present with Leon S. Kennedy in, the setting where Leon is. So we finally get to see some more interaction between the main Resident Evil characters, because, it seems like my envisioned Resident Evil game is starting to come to fruition, where, like, the whole world, it's being engulfed into a viral outbreak where everything is going to be zombified, or where there's going to be BOWs or whatever, and all the people in the main Resident Evil franchise, mainly the key characters, are going to be the ones to try to stop the entire outbreak from engulfing the planet, because I think the plot line for where they're going with this is probably going to be similar to what Resident Evil, the live-action Resident Evil movies have done, where after Resident Evil Apocalypse, the whole world started to enter into an undead state, where everything was basically killed off all of a sudden because of the whole viral outbreak engulfing the planet. So I think that's the type of plot line that they're going for, with the whole world being enveloped into the viral outbreak. I assume it's the T virus. So yeah, out of everything I said, I hope that's the route that they're going for within this game. But, if they really are going to pull off this game to make it, well, I wouldn't really say, the last entry in the, the current storyline with the main characters, because, there's a possibility that a Resident Evil 7 may be made, but it could be an entire reboot to where, a brand new story is going to take place or whatever, and it could, and there could be newer protagonists taking place from the ones that we've grown up with, which I'm sure is going to piss off a lot of fans. But it's really great. It's really great to see. There's a lot of things that are happening in the trailer, which seems to be coming to fruition about what's all going to happen. So, since we've seen Leon, Chris, Jill, Ashley, and some weird dude with a shaved head, and is very young, I'm guessing this character is actually going to be Steve Burnside from Code Veronica, because there was that hint at the end of Code Veronica X where he could be revived and he would see Claire all over again. So I'm thinking this is the route that they're going to go for, because, this would make perfect sense if they officially announce the character as that. But, just make sure it goes true, whether or not if the guy is actually going to be, helping, or if he's going to try to destroy the planet or whatever. I assume he's going to be helping because he was a good guy in Code Veronica. And you can actually see the guy actually injecting himself with these suppressants. I'm supposing it's supposed to be the take of suppressing the T virus, so that way it doesn't fully engulf him, or taking those 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 suppressants or whatever that Wesker was taking to suppress the strong effects of the T virus, which I totally believe that's the case. But yeah, there has been that trailer that was released, and for the hardcore Resident Evil fan of the main franchise, that leaves a lot of speculation, and I definitely have speculated a whole lot as to what might happen ever since that trailer surfaced, and there is a lot more speculation coming from everybody else, not just me. I mean, a lot of other people are talking about it, like IGN, and even those people at Reviewtopia, and even GameSpot, and even Joystick, and even Kotaku, and even Destructoid. All those people are talking about it. So, yeah, it's become quite a stir, and you'll actually hear more of the speculations from me, and hopefully the other guys of the 4DS Audio Podcast. And I know that 16-Bit Jeff has praised interest in wanting to do a breaking news segment, so I think we're going to bring that back for the next episode of the 4DS Audio Podcast, is doing a breaking news segment, or a breaking news episode, where the first one we did was the whole thing with PETA accusing Super Mario 3D Land and thinking it's supporting the destruction or the slaughter of the raccoon dogs in Japan. Yeah, that was the one that we did at first. But you know, it would be great to talk about Resident Evil 6 since it has surfaced on the internet, and it would make, like I said, it would make perfect sense, and it seems like the time is right to put in more speculation and to talk about it. Alright, and as you have just seen from within not Tolbi, but from within Calais, we actually talked to the tourists that were at the inn, and we got to see a cutscene to where they were about to leave Calais to go to the Calais port, you know, the boat port, where they're going to make their vacation, or where they're going to take their trip over to Tolbi. And that is the next place where we're going to go. But we're not going to do it right away, because with this episode, you know, from where we're at, I think we've already made really good progress. So I think we're going to stop right here. We're going to save our progress right here since we haven't done so in a while. And we will call it quits for this episode. And perfect timing too. Anyway, gamers, next time on RRPG Let's Play with Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance, we're going to resume where we left off, and we're going to go to the Calais port to take a boat that will ride us through the Caragol Sea over to Tolbi. Hopefully we can get through the whole boat sequence, but we probably won't reach Tolbi until about the next episode or two after this upcoming one. Anyway, gamers, if you have not done so already, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter with the links in the description, and if you like what you saw, then be sure to rate this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave comments below to let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Anyway, gamers, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you on the next episode. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys then.